If you're a coach or consultant, at least one of these three things has crossed your mind at some point. My leads are too broke, my niche is too saturated, or my offer price is too high. Now, I'm here to tell you right now that these are not the core issue. Let me illustrate with an example. Say that there's a Lamborghini Huracan for sale, and it's brand new, it's 100% authentic, and you can tell that it fully works properly. But it only costs $10,000. You know that you can resell the car for hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least for 11 grand. Now, the issue is in your bank account, you only have $10. What would you do? Well, you would do whatever it takes to get those $10,000, whether it's borrowing money, whether it's financing, no matter what. Why? Because you know the value of the car far exceeds the cost. In the same way, if you actually have value and create certainty and belief in your leads, they will buy your offer. The problem is not broke leads. The problem is not a saturated market. The real problem is your content. Your content does not create enough belief in you as a person or in your offer. Your clients do not know, like, or trust you enough. Now, what I'm covering in this video is the exact way that my client Nick Soraya was able to scale to $335,000 a month, reach number one on School by revenue, all with one link in his YouTube video descriptions. No crazy ads, no sales team, no complex funnel. Yet we reached number one on School, outcompeting bigger channels with way more complex funnels, with way more views that ran paid ads, yet we were able to out-earn them. How? How is Jonas Rorwick able to make over $100,000 a month with less than 2,000 subscribers and less than 6,000 followers? And why did I pay him $6,000 to learn backend systems when there are guys with bigger followings and bigger case studies that are teaching and offering the same thing? How was one of my clients complaining about broke leads and less than 24 hours later, a booked call ready to pay £5,000? Now, for full transparency, unfortunately, they didn't end up closing. There was a bunch of payment issues and back and forth. But the fact of the matter is, one scripted reel took someone from a cold viewer to ready to call and ready to pay in full. How are people able to get comments like this? You almost just convinced me to buy whatever it is that you're selling, and I don't even know your product yet. Crazy work. And if you like my little skull emojis here, but that's an insane comment to get. The guy who made this video, they got this comment, Sue, understands how to actually build trust and authority and likability with the viewer and address their limiting beliefs. So before I dive into the real sauce, just a little bit of social proof so you guys know who I am. So I've helped clients generate over 18 million long-form views on YouTube. That's over 100,000 views on average across the 166 videos I worked on. I've helped my clients generate over $2.5 million cash collected. I handled the ideation, packaging, and editing that helped Nick Soraya scale from 63,000 subscribers to over 200K in just 6 months to 240K in 9 months. This is before we started working together. This is after, and that's with 2 breaks in the middle. As you can see, he was at about 100K a month, and we took him to $335,000 a month from his paid communities. This is him next to Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens, and he reached number one in School by revenue. So yeah, that's a little bit of a backstory on who I am. What I want to drill home is that information has become a commodity. In the world of ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, and Claude, you can no longer just post, here are the top 3 ways to lose weight, or top 5 ways to ace an interview, or top 3 ways to learn the guitar. You can post that content, but you have no differentiation. There's nothing unique about it. And nobody trusts, likes, or knows you better because of that content. There's no emotional connection with the viewer. You are just another Buzz Lightyear on the shelf. I could ask ChatGPT, hey, currently my lats and my rear delts are lacking a bit. I work out 3 times a week. Here's my current routine. What 3 exercises should I add to build up my lats and rear delts over the next year so that they're no longer lagging? I can learn pretty much anything just by prompting these bots in the right way. If I'm a content creator, I could ask any of these bots to give me the top 10 best tips to lose weight or to grow on Instagram, right? All that content is so easy to script. Anyone can recycle your content. Anyone can steal your scripts. Anyone can make the exact videos you're making. You have no real authority or real trust with the viewer. Now, this is not me telling you to stop posting informational content. Informational content is great to post, but there are levels to it. So let's go over them right now. So level 1 is what I call prescriptive content. Okay, this is telling people what to do. These are guides, these are tips, these are how-to / practical advice. It has moderate authority, there's no real connection with the viewer, and it's very commoditized and replicable. That's exactly what we're talking about, right? The top 5 best exercises for beginner drummers. How to get 80 grams of protein on the go. And it's with Iman Gadzhi. This guy's a viral genius. Now, this content is not bad. This is not a diss to any of these creators. But if your goal is to get people to buy, this is not the best content to make. This is great value for the viewers, but it doesn't really get them to trust you, to like you, or to know you. So let's move to level 2. Level 2 is what I call descriptive. This is sharing your learnings and your own observations from your journey. This is personal lessons, this is analyzing your journey for tips, and it's high in authority because you're talking from the first perspective of someone who's already achieved the dream outcome. It's low to moderate connection because it is a bit of a connection because you're talking about yourself and your journey, but it's not as emotionally resonant as some of the higher level ones that we'll cover later. It does establish credibility and it does differentiate you compared to the people who are just posting, tips and tricks. Now, here are some examples. How I went from 70% average, and I think it was to like straight A student, and I became a millionaire at 26. Here are 13 lessons for anyone in their 20s. Now, a common objection you guys might have is, yeah, but I haven't really achieved anything great in the niche that I'm trying to teach. I don't feel qualified to say this, right? Maybe you're giving out financial advice, but you're not a millionaire. Maybe you're teaching people how to grow on Instagram, but you only have 4,000 followers. But the thing is, you can always teach people that are a step before you. For example, if you have 4,000 followers on Instagram and your page is on how to grow on Instagram, you could simply make a post saying, here's how I went from 0 followers to 4,000 followers in 2 months. And you just share the things that you've learned over that journey. That will resonate and build a connection with the viewer much more powerfully than if you're trying to play the authority role and just say, here are the 3 best ways to grow on Instagram. Now, when it comes to number 3, we have narrative. Narrative is reflective storytelling about the journey. This takes them through your journey and story. It's very high in authority and it's massive connection. It humanizes you, it builds trust, and it builds the emotional connection. And I'm going to show you guys a few examples because I think this is really powerful content. The first one I'm going to go over is by Sue. Let's watch it right now.
Is it possible for a 19-year-old kid to make $100,000 a month while balancing university? 3 years ago when I was 16, I told myself that I'd make $100,000 a month before I turned 20. I told all my friends, I told all my family, and I was a clown. I literally got clowned on. But I started a business anyways, and it took me 2 years until I saw some real success with my business. At 18, I was making around $10K a month running my marketing agency, but I came into a problem. I didn't have enough time, and so I could either cruise comfortably at around $10K a month, or just drop out and go all in. Now, after months of convincing and talking back and forth with my Asian parents, they finally let me drop out, but there was one problem. If I dropped out of university, I'd have to get deported back to Malaysia. After all the effort of convincing them and telling them that I'm going to do these big things, I was kind of forced to stay in college. I took it as a sign from the universe that I could balance both, so I tried my best and I did. I stayed in university, and after 5 months of just grinding every single day in my dorm room, we hit $50,000 a month. Hitting 50K a month was also the moment where I felt the most empty and lost in life. I barely hung out with my friends, I was just stuck in my room all day, and it felt like I was just working towards a number on the screen that didn't really mean anything. I started hating work so much to the point where I set a completely new goal for myself. Prioritize my life over my business. I decided to book a trip to Dubai with all of my clients so I can finally find the reason why I started my business in the first place. Dubai was the best time of my life. We were working together, we were riding camels, and we were doing everything, and that was the reset that I needed. The month I got back from Dubai, I knew I was going to hit $100,000 a month. So I went all in and we were doing it. And just before I turned 20, we achieved our goal. We made $151,000 cash collected at 19. We made the 16-year-old me proud.
150啊，我吓死人了，真的，150美金啊，吓死人
Amazing.
哦，吓死人哦，很好哦。
That was genuinely a masterclass. There's so much stuff I could talk about. I'm not even going to talk about the technical details like the hook. He used a very proven hook that Mina Lee uses a lot, which is it possible, right? Curiosity gap. But in terms of the actual content itself, there's so many different points that he hit. First of all, he's very relatable in the start, right? He's ambitious but young, and he's being clowned on. What does that do? It creates the relatable underdog. Everyone wants to cheer for the relatable underdog. Then he talks about his Asian parents. That's another point that's very relatable. In another video he made, he talks about how a lot of people actually buy from him because he's Asian. So by talking about Asian parents, he knows it's going to resonate with a lot of his viewers. Then he includes 2 points in his journey that he knows will resonate with the kind of people he wants to buy from him. There's a point where he's talking about making $10K a month and having the dilemma of, do I just coast or do I double down and step outside of my comfort zone to make more money? Then there was a second point where he's making good money at $50K a month, but he hates his life, he's stuck in his room all day, and he doesn't enjoy it, he feels empty. And it's also relatable to a lot of his ICP. He showcases his dream life not by flexing cars or material wealth, but by showing the time freedom he has, by showing himself traveling, by showing himself hanging out with the boys. He knows what his viewers want to see, what they resonate with, what they emotionally feel. And then he ends it all off with a callback to his younger self, which makes the viewer think, hey, if he was in that position and I'm in a similar position and he could do it, why can't I? Finally, after all of that, he ends it with a call with his father because he knows that a lot of people watching actually want to get rich and achieve the dream life to make their parents proud and to repay their parents for all that they've done for them. Also notice how throughout this entire video, he never once mentions how he made the money. It creates a curiosity gap which gets people to watch more of his videos. Every single part of the video is carefully curated to build the most trust, authority, and connection with the viewer. Compare how you feel watching that one video to how you feel after watching 100 videos on tips and tricks. It's not even close. Here's another example.
Customer. 100K bucks. 9 a.m. Ollie.
So why is this video so good? Because it again has the relatable underdog story. He starts off with 0 internships, chopped and out of shape. And not only that, but it has so much vulnerability, right? It shows him failing repeatedly. He drops out of school, he fails, he has to re-enroll in college. And it's constantly getting you to feel his pain, to see his highs and his lows, the wins and the fails. And what does that do? That builds a connection with him. Imagine if he didn't show those low points, if he just showed, here's my starting point, here's my ending point. It would have had not even half of the emotional connection that it has by showing the vulnerable moments and his lowest points and his points of failure. He also ended off really powerfully by showing a bunch of case studies. Here's one guy helped make a bunch of money. Here's another guy helped make a bunch of money. It's building massive authority and massive emotional connection. Very good content. Now here are a couple more. I'm not going to watch the videos for all of these. We'll be here till tomorrow if I do. But how I got abs in 90 days after failing my entire life. Now, first of all, this title's great because after failing my entire life, again, has that vulnerability and it has that relatable underdog story. And in this video, I'm pretty sure he has check-ins and clips of him in the journey as he's going through it, right? You get to watch and follow along as he starts from relatable starting point and ends with dream outcome. This next one's called Fit to Fat and Back. And this is a guy who's extremely in shape, going completely out of shape to become in shape again. And it's taking you through his entire journey of becoming fat to becoming fit again. And the reason this works super well is it builds massive authority. He's doing it before your very eyes and you can see exactly what he does. It's also over an hour long. Imagine watching basically a movie's length of someone transforming. You're going to build massive connection with them compared to something like a reel. Now the final example that I want to cover is the Boyfriend Maxing Blueprint by Prosper Chew. And this guy's really good at making people connect with him and building trust through his content. Highly recommend you check out his videos. But this video is actually a lesson series based on his other series, which I would actually put in level 4, which is Boyfriend Maxing. And all he does in this series is he talks about the lessons he learned in the other series. Now, the reason I didn't put this at level 2, because I was talking about like lessons learned from personal experience, is because there's so much more context and emotional connection here than the basic, oh, I became a millionaire, here's what I learned, right? It takes things to another level. So really recommend you guys watch his videos, but let's actually dive into level 4, which has the actual series Boyfriend Maxing in it. The final level is level 4, which is experiential. This is the quest. This is taking them on the journey in real time. These are live cold calls. These are start and sell series. These are fitness challenges. These are story series. If you've seen on Instagram, people saying like title episode 1, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's taking viewers along on the journey. This is massive authority, massive connection, and it's not replicable. If you guys know Giuliano Massarelli, he's like the new Jordan Belfort of sales. The reason he was able to build such a massive following is because he used to post these sales call videos where he would call up the prospect, and if they hung up on him, he would just play music and vibe out. And it was so funny to watch, and it was also pretty educational. And people like this guy so much because of his content that I guarantee you no matter what he drops, people will buy instantly. There's actually a video he did recently where a girl messaged him because she wanted to call to buy his life insurance from him simply because she saw his videos. Let's actually watch that video right now.
Hey,
Emily,
how's it going?
I can't complain. I love what I do.
Hell yeah, I'm in sales too, I get it.
Oh, so you understand? You get the business, huh?
Fortune 200 company, yeah, medical device sales, and I love the hustle, so.
Thank you. I
I'm here
appreciate
for
that.
it.
And I want to say thank you for giving me the business. So I'm going to shop around for you. I saw that, your company was like pay $400, but I think it gets you something better.
Great, let's do it.
So would you say you're healthy? Any heart attacks, strokes, or cancer?
No, any of that.
Sounds amen to that. And you're in Texas, right?
Yeah,
How do you like Texas?
I'm here for a while. I love it.
Nice. You should come back. You should come to Florida. I'll take you out for some coffee.
Oh yeah, where in Florida?
Fort Lauderdale.
I love Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, Fort Lauderdale's where it's at. South Florida.
Yeah.
What's a good email address for you, Emily? Q
67 at gmail.com.
at gmail.com. Okay. Was that before or after the meme?
This was in college, so this is like, yeah.
Fair enough. And you're healthy,
Kudos
right?
to you for being cool as fuck, too.
I love you. Thank you so much.
No, for real, I think you're hilarious. Like,
Thank you.
That mindset at 18, it can only get you good places. So.
Exactly. Only to the moon.
How bad
Sky's
is-
the limit. And that's the best part about sales, that there's no cap. No limit.
Fuck yeah,
Yes.
I get it.
Emily, you're
You're
gonna
helping
get
out.
yes, thank you, I appreciate it. Emily, you're gonna get a text from Ethos. Just click on the link so I can continue with the application. Okay, and do you have any children?
No,
Okay.
fuck them kids right now.
Fuck
so.
them. Well, that's for later on.
Maybe, yes.
Maybe, we'll see. Whatever God wants. And what's your date of birth real quick?
Happy Sunday.
Yes, happy Sunday. God bless you. It's a great day. Another day, another dollar, hustling.
Exactly.
Yes, amen to that. My mother would hate if I asked this, but how much do you weigh? And no heart attack, strokes,
You're
or...
normal.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well.
I'm just saying, there are some other pros to making good content. Another video right here.
Is it possible to simultaneously grow 2 side hustles to 10K a month in 30 days? I started a brand
Again, notice the "is it possible" hook.
new account, and in the next 30 days, I want to make $10,000 from it doing a side hustle called UGC, where you just get paid to market apps.
Aw, Instagram just congratulated me for posting my first real baby.
Now you might be wondering, why am I doing this freaking series when I have a business that just hit 100K a month last month? I got people telling me, oh, Mino, it's because you have an audience. You are unemployed and you dropped out of college, so you have all the fucking time in the world. I want to prove some motherfuckers wrong, man.
Now, after a long freaking day of work, it's currently 2 a.m. This is the progress we made on the app. It's got the home screen UI. Now, we have officially made, after posting one video on a
I'm not going to play the whole thing because I feel like at this point you guys have a pretty good understanding and I don't want to be playing clips this whole video. But if you want to see the whole thing, check out Mino Lee on Instagram. He has a lot of great content. Here's an example we did with Nick. Watch me start and sell an AI service in 10 hours. And it's 1.5 hours long, 338,000 views, 20x outlier. I tried to sell a new AI service in 3 hours, raw results, 63,000 views, 3.7x outlier. Now again, we're not optimizing for views, we're optimizing for people buying. But look at this, 1.5 hour video, 2.5 hour video. These are movie-length videos where we'd start from scratch and achieve the dream outcome that people want. And it builds massive authority. It differentiates you from all the gurus who don't know what they're talking about at all. And Nick's also really good at speaking on camera, so he's able to pull this off extremely well. Nick has so much experience, authority, and understanding of his domain that someone else trying to replicate him or copy him, it wouldn't even be as convincing or as powerful. And he built massive authority by going from people's starting point, right? Starting from scratch, to achieving their dream outcome, selling the AI service. Now, I want to end with Boyfriend Maxing episode 1 because I think this is literally the greatest Instagram video I've ever watched for building connection with the viewer. So let's just play it right now. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, even though I really want to, just because I think this video is so good, I desperately want you guys to go check it out yourselves.
2 years ago, I was swiping through Hinge for every waking hour because I was lonely and I wanted emotional validation. Did it help me find a girlfriend?
Nope.
But I did find out that I'm never gonna attract my future wife if I don't become the ideal husband. Welcome to Boyfriend Maxing, episode 1. In a world of hookup culture and red pill being mainstream, chivalry is clearly dying. Assert your dominance. Be a high value man. Don't be a simp.
Treat her like a princess. Provide for her. Emotionally validate her.
That's so confusing. What the fuck? And if I want to be a good father one day, then the first thing I have to learn is how to treat a girl right. I genuinely believe there's a right way to be masculine, but still kind and compassionate. So follow along as I document and share everything from books, conversations, and even dates. My process of learning how to actually treat a woman right.
Oh my gosh. I meant to cut it off earlier, but I didn't because it's just captivating, bro. I'm glazing a little hard here, but what a great video, man. Okay, now that I've gone through the different levels of informational content, I want to talk about what I think made Nick so successful and so effective and differentiated him from everybody else in the space. And of course, the experiential content was a huge part of that, but it's not the only piece. The main thing that I think really set him apart is familiarity through volume. Now, this is his second channel, Nick Sarayev Daily Updates, and he built so much authority, authenticity, and trust from this second channel. And all he did was answer viewer questions and update his business stats. What are his subscriber counts? What is the next thing that he's going to work on today? How many followers did he gain? How many subscribers did he gain? What's the next business action that he's going to take? And he just interacted with viewers, answered their questions about anything, right? I remember people were talking about like solo leveling and anime and stuff. And he would still interact with whatever people commented, he would respond to. Imagine how much of a connection that builds versus the guy who posts once a week. And by the way, when he was posting daily on the Daily Updates channel, he also was posting almost daily on the main channel. So this is almost 2 long-form videos per day. That volume outcompetes literally everyone else in the space. People couldn't even do that if they wanted to. Now, I'm not saying you have to post daily. I'm simply saying that the more that you post, the more familiar you are to the viewer, the more connection you build with them. You become part of their routine. And something really effective that Nick did was he optimized for the least friction, for recording, for editing, and for being consistent. For editing, I used to help him with the editing. And what he would do is he would have an OBS scene with his camera and with the screen so that he wouldn't have to do post-editing, right? You don't have to sync the clips. You don't have to, adjust it. And obviously I would do some adjustments here and there, but it would save a little bit of time for each video. And all of that stacks up. For recording, for daily updates, he thought, what's the easiest way for me to post as consistently as possible and avoid missing a day? And the easiest way is just answering questions and updating on the business. It requires zero planning and he can just do it on the fly, wherever he's at, whether he's traveling, whether he's at home. And all it did is build massive trust, massive authority, and massive connection with his viewers. And what about Jonas? How was he able to make over $100,000 a month with 2,000 subscribers and less than 6,000 followers? Why did I drop $6,000 on a mentorship to learn backend systems from him instead of going to someone that has more followers or bigger case studies? Well, it's because his content resonated with me. I liked his values and his personality. He's chill, he's ambitious, he's Christian, he talks about his values, he talks about what he believes in, he talks about what he likes. His life, he hangs out with the boys, he travels, he has free time, right? The dream life, the dream outcome. And one of the things that really resonated with me was actually this video he made about identity shifting and how it changed his life. And I know from personal experience the power of identity shifting. I saw myself as a totally shy introvert, like tons of social anxiety. Even to call and order from restaurants, I would feel like my heart rate would go up and I would be like, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? And I went from that, by identity shifting and taking action, I started talking to random people on the train. I started cold approaching. I started talking to people that I had no idea who they were. People, old people, younger people, people that are like I normally would have never even spoken to. People that I knew from like junior high that normally I would just pretend not to notice. And it completely transformed how I viewed myself and transformed how other people viewed me. And one of the craziest moments for me was when someone told me like, yeah, you're a pretty outgoing person. And it was like confirming the new identity that I had built. And it was like, wow, I really am. From his perspective, this random guy went up to him, not once, but twice, from a complete stranger to starting to joke with him and talk with him. And of course, in his eyes, I'm probably the most outgoing person in the world. And I realized in that moment that the identity I had of being this shy, socially anxious introvert was entirely based on nothing. It was based on my personal experiences or specific memories that really actually have no bearing on who I decide to be in the moment. What you have to understand is that people don't want to buy from the best person. They want to buy from the person best for them. Who do they resonate with? That's what actually matters. So when you're your authentic self, and don't feel free to talk about random super niche things that you like, because even if one person likes that same thing, let's say it's a specific comic book, or it's some super niche hobby you have that literally no one else you know does, like stamp collecting, and you just need one viewer who also does stamp collecting, and they're going to see, wait, this guy collects stamps too, and they're going to like you more because of it, and they're going to resonate with you. And it might sound stupid, but you talking about stamp collecting one time might get someone to pay you thousands of dollars instead of going to someone else. Another problem in the info space, on top of value content, is people trying to flex lifestyle. And the reason this is so bad is because lifestyle is a zero-sum losing game, okay? You can flex your Mercedes, but then someone will flex their Ferrari. You can flex your Ferrari, but then someone's going to flex their Lambo. And then you flex your Lambo, but someone else flexes their Koenigsegg. And unless you have $1 billion, you're not going to win the flexing game, okay? There's always a bigger fish with a nicer watch and hotter fish huzz, okay? This is the Shark Tail girl. She kind of looks like Angelina Jolie. Anyway. Alex Hormozi said, poor people are impressed by what you own. Rich people are impressed by how you think. And by the way, this guy just made $100 million in like 2 days off his last book launch. He broke like every world record. Flexing does not impress rich people, okay? It only impresses people who are broke. That does not mean that you hide your wealth, but it means you dig deeper into the underlying things that people want. So how do you actually show authority and credibility without competing in the losing game of flexing? Well, you do this by communicating the underlying dream outcome and having relatability with the viewer. And what do I mean by underlying dream outcome? Well, whether it's abs, whether it's being rich, the reason that people want the dream outcome is because of the associations and the results that come from having it. For example, when it comes to being rich, proud parents, traveling, free time, being able to retire a family, getting attention from girls, and respect from peers. Here's an example from Paul Hahn, 5.7 million views. I love this video, by the way. I've literally watched it multiple times. And it made me like and respect and trust him so much more. He gives his parents like new iPhones. He gets them on a trip, all expenses paid. And it's super cool, him and his brother helping their parents out. And this is one example, right? He's communicating the dream underlying outcome. And he comes across as an amazing guy, right? He's so likable in this video. It shows his family values. It shows that he has the dream outcome, right? He has money, but he's not flexing watches or showing off cars or showing off stacks of cash. He's communicating, hey, I have a lot of money, but he's doing it in a way that makes him likable and builds trust and connection with the viewer. Now, the second half of this is relatability. Here's this video of Pierre. I'm actually getting kind of rich and I don't know how to feel about it. Now, if you see in his background, he's subtly flexing his Miami penthouse or wherever this is and the nice view behind him, right? But he's not overtly flexing. The title is talking about I'm actually getting kind of rich, but the entire video is him just being raw, talking to the camera, feeling authentic and genuine. Look at this video by TJR. He's funny. When you're funny, you're more likable, and it makes you more relatable, right? He's very brain-rotted in his humor. So when someone else who's brain-rotted watches this, they're like, wow, if this guy has this kind of humor and he's as retarded as me, and he's making that much money, then so can I. So he can get away with flexing because people first like him.
Would you still love me if I was a worm? Of course, baby, I would. Would you still love me if I was a rock? Of course, baby, I would. Would you still love me if I was fat? Fuck no!
And that's like pretty tame for TJR. But again, people think, wow, if this guy can make this kind of brain rot content and his humor is similar to me, and he's really just like me, except he's rich, how did he do it? Because however he did it, I could probably do it too. Now, Sue, he's also Asian, he's also in uni, as a lot of people are, and that makes him more relatable and similar. And when someone's similar to you and they succeed, you can see yourself also succeeding, right? Because they're just like you. Now, I'm actually going to do a little mini breakdown of Sue's reels for a second so you guys can really understand the intentionality behind what he posts and why it's so effective. So this guy makes $224,000 a month at 20 years old. Absolutely crazy. And if you look at his pinned posts, The first pin reel is him calling his mom, telling her he made $150,000 a month at 19 years old. The second one is that story video that we already watched together. And the third one is him talking to Daniel Dillon. And the video basically demonstrates his values. And Daniel Dillon's a very respected person in the info space. So all the positive associations with Daniel Dillon, they get transferred over to him when someone watches this. So it's very intentional. Now I want you to notice, not a single one of these 3-pin reels is him selling his service, telling you why you should buy from him, or trying to convince you that he's the right pick for whatever service he provides. Now, I will say that on his actual post, like not in the Reels tab, but in the main post tab, he does have a pinned carousel post that kind of goes over his consulting business. But when it comes to the Reels, most people would still have another thing saying, this is what I would offer if you worked with me, or this is exactly what I provide for you, or this is why you need my service. But he doesn't do any of that because he knows that these 3 videos build so much trust and likability that the viewer is so invested in him that they're going to watch his other content. They're going to find out, how did this guy make this money? And they're going to respect him so much that when they do watch the content about him actually talking about his service, or his pinned carousel post that talks about how he made money and what he provides, they're already like him enough that they take it in the right way. They're taking it with a positive frame. Now, this pinned post of him calling his mom was very intentionally chosen. He's rich at a young age, he's making his parents proud, he's feeling successful, he's grounded and family-oriented, and he's present in their lives. And if you look at over here, this is another video he made where he's talking about his ICP. And look what he put here. What are their goals, dreams, and desires? What do we see here? Making their parents and siblings proud of them and helping wherever he can. Wow. Helping whenever he can, making his parents and siblings proud of them. And what does this reel do? It's talking about him making his parents proud. And actually in the reel, his mom jokes about, how much are you going to give me, right? It's a joke, but it still alludes to the help whenever he can. Working less hours and being present in their lives. Being present in their lives. He's able to talk to his mom. He's able to spend time with family. He's not just working 24/7, right? Again, intentionality in everything he posts. Imagine if his pinned reel was just him flexing being rich, him showing off a fancy car or a nice watch. It doesn't stand out, it doesn't portray his values, and it barely touches the underlying motivation behind why viewers actually want to become wealthy. Now, if you guys remember from the intro, I talked about this comment. You almost just convinced me to buy whatever it is that you're selling, and I don't even know your product yet. Crazy work. And that's actually from this reel that we're about to watch. So let's watch it right now.
Have to make them realize that the cost of inaction is greater than what they're paying right now. We do it on all our sales calls, and we sell with pure logic. Let's say you make 10K a month for the next 12 months. You're gonna be making 120K a year. But me and you both know that you're lacking the information to make 30K a month because you already have the foundation. Worst case scenario, you add an extra 5K on top of your monthly revenue right now. $15,000 times 12, that's $180,000. You would have made $180,000 if I just helped you add an extra 5K a month in revenue compared to you staying stuck at 120K a year. By you not making this investment, you lost out on over $60,000 to you. Are you not scared of that? When I say that, people freak the fuck out and then they pay. You're not making 10K a month. No, you're losing 20K a month because you should be making 30K. Make them realize the cost of inaction and what's the cost of them not moving forward, and that's why they pay.
Notice what he just did there. It's a limiting belief breaker post positioned as useful advice for his ICP to use on sales calls. He uses himself as the example. Prospects who watch this and were unsure whether to buy his service are now significantly more likely to buy from him. Why? Because he's reframed the way they view his offer in their mind. And because he positioned it as advice, they don't feel like they're being sold to. It's an absolute, genuine masterclass in content. Being Asian is a cheat code. Now, why is this so good? He checks with people who buy from him why they buy from him. And a lot of them said because he's Asian. So he made content highlighting the exact reason that people buy from him, but he positions it as advice, which only emphasizes it to the people that it resonates with. And we already went over this story, so I'm not going to go over it again, but he's young, he wants to be rich, he's balancing universities, clowned on by others. It's the underdog story. He struggled for 2 years before seeing success. He's trying to convince his Asian parents. He felt like he was overworking. Hanging out with friends while making bread is what he wanted, and that's the final outcome that he had. And he was talking with his proud dad. And this is all relatable plus dream outcome. You need to build trust, not just give value. You need to build connection, not just flex money. Relatability plus dream outcome. Understand why your current customers are buying from you, understand the limiting beliefs that your viewers have, identify the dream outcome they desire, and make content that specifically dismantles their limiting beliefs through stories or advice. Instead of selling it to them, you're positioning it as advice for them. You're positioning it through your own personal stories. Too many people try to focus on value content and building authority first. But authority without people buying into you is useless. Iban Ghazi can make a course on anything and people will buy from him because they know him, they like him, and they trust him. He's dropped videos recently on shadow operators, which is just rebranded growth operating. What experience does he personally have with this? Zero. Nothing. But he's going to print more money than 99% of these experienced growth operator mentors who have more authority in the space than him simply because he has more people that know, like, and trust him. If his content was focused solely on his old business models of SMMA or digital products, then people wouldn't trust him for this. But he makes content on his life. He has a whole channel called Iman Ghazi Unscripted, and it's just him traveling and having fun and vlogging. He makes content on his values, on his mom, who was a single mom. He talks about his story. He's documented his entire journey on YouTube since I think he was like 17 years old. And he shares his investments like into WAP, his lifestyle, like I mentioned, the second channel, and people like him for him, not just for the specific SMMA related value. Daniel Dillon. Half of Daniel Dillon's viewers don't even know what his business is, yet they love him. The moment he offered a 20K mastermind workshop, he made multiple six figures from that one workshop because he built his brand the right way. People know, like, and trust him. He made more money from that one mastermind than most coaches and consultants will make in 6 months. And that's because he didn't sell or regurgitate value in his videos. He simply stayed authentic and showed his own personal values and built a real, genuine connection with his viewers. He built a core audience who loves him, his philosophy, his lifestyle, his aesthetic, his values, and his taste. Every single video you make should be emphasizing the problem, that's top of funnel, establishing the solution, that's middle funnel, and breaking limiting beliefs while building authority, bottom of funnel. Too many people try to build authority as your top of funnel, and that's just so stupid. If you remember what we were talking about with TJR, what does he do? He spams brain rot reels like 10 times a day, and then people are like, okay, this guy is funny, I like him, but how did he get so rich? And then they watch his YouTube, and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy has so much authority, he's rich, he knows how to trade, and he builds so much authority after building the trust, after emphasizing the problem. The problem TJR presents is, how is this guy who's retarded able to make so much money, and he has the same humor as me, he has a similar personality, he's really funny, and yet he's so rich. How did he get rich? So it establishes the problem. Oh, he got rich through trading. That establishes the solution. Oh, well, he's like that, and he was able to get there. Okay, that breaks limiting beliefs. And then I watch his YouTube. Oh, he really knows how to trade, and look how much money he's made. Or I go on his profile and I see all the case studies of his students in his highlights. Oh, that builds authority. Authority is the last step. Do not make authority the first step. Now, when we're talking about establishing the problem, here are some more examples. Brett Scales. I bought a $400,000 GT3 RS at 20. Now, he is making lifestyle content, right? But he does it in the form of vlogs. It's very authentic to him. And his ICP is young people, right? It's young teenagers. Alex Hormozi talked about how like poor people are impressed by expensive things, right? But young people tend to be poor, and his ICP is young people. So, I mean, I don't think lifestyle content is the worst for him in this case. But what is the problem that's established in this top of funnel video? It's why is he able to buy a car at 20 years old when I'm not able to do it, even though I'm a similar age to him, or I'm slightly older, or I'm slightly younger? What about this video by Pure that we talked about earlier? I'm actually getting kind of rich and I don't know how to feel about it. How is this guy able to get rich? He looks pretty young. I feel like I'm not living up to my potential. This video by Ben Bader. People dumber than you are making millions, lol. I'm smarter than these dudes making millions, yet I'm broke. How? Why? And instinctually, a lot of people are like, yeah, there's definitely guys that are dumber than me that are making more money than me. First of all, a curiosity gap. Second of all, it establishes the problem. How are people dumber than me making millions of dollars when I'm struggling to pay rent? Now, middle of funnel content. Establishing the solution. Here's Brett Scales explaining the business model that makes me $100K a month at 19 years old. Brackets, freelance brand scaling. right? This directly funnels people who are curious from his vlog and lifestyle content on how they can make money, right? That's middle of funnel content. Then we're talking about breaking limiting beliefs. Brett Skills constantly says in so many of his vlogs, I'm just a regular kid. Is that his catchphrase? No. It's because he knows every time he repeats it, it emphasizes in the viewer's mind, this guy is just like me, yet he was able to get rich. And then they connect the dots. Okay, he's just like me, but I'm broke and he's rich. What's the difference? Oh, freelance brand scaling, which by the way is literally just rebranded SMMA. And I'm going to do a whole video on differentiation, but he absolutely killed it. I think he's like the best example in the space of the power of differentiation. He absolutely killed it by rebranding SMMA into freelance brand scaling. But every time someone hears, I'm just a regular kid, people think, if he's just like me and he can do it, why can't I? Now, I've covered a lot in this video, so feel free to rewind, feel free to ask questions in the comments below. But I just want to leave you guys with this. You can keep playing the volume game. You can keep running more ads, hiring more setters, desperately trying to convince broke leads that you're worth it. Or you can do it the smart way and get viewers to know, like, and trust you, allowing you to outcompete people with better case studies and bigger followings. The choice is simply yours. Now, if you're interested in working with me, or if you're curious on how better content and systems can help you 3x your existing coaching or consulting business, feel free to book a call with the link in the video description. And if you want, you could also just message me on Instagram at JohanCGO. Appreciate you guys for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.